Every so often, a story comes along that perfectly captures the heart of a school. Today's episode is one of those stories. For 70 years, SIA has been a place where learning, community, and connection thrive. And for one family, those threads have woven through 3 generations. A grandparent, Susan Tapper, who once taught here, parents, Elise and David Carden, who walked these halls as students, and now a daughter, Sylvie Carden, who has come full circle as a preschool teacher. It's a story of legacy, love, and lifelong learning, all rooted right here on our campus. I'm Heather Moore, and this is SIA the Podcast. Welcome to Full Circle, a family's journey through SIA. Thank you all for being here. Can each of you introduce yourselves and share your connection to our school? Susan, can we start with you?
Sure. I'm Susan Tapper, and I was librarian at Hebrew Academy and then Strelitz International Academy for 25 years.
I'm Elise Tapper Carden. I'm Susan's daughter, oldest daughter, favorite daughter. Just kidding. I went to Hebrew Academy starting when I was in 3rd grade many years ago, and then I sent our 4 children to Strelitz International Academy.
I am David Carden, and I attended the Hebrew Academy from kindergarten all the way to the 7th grade. And I also sent my 4 children. I'm married to Elise, by the way, if you haven't figured that out. And my mother-in-law is Susan, who you've already heard from. And I went to, I became a board member for the Hebrew Academy, for the SIA, as well as president, and I'm still on the board now. And we have our 4 children that have gone through the school.
My name is Sylvie Carden, and I went to school at Strelitz for 9 years, I believe, and I teach now here 4-year-olds. Yay.
That's amazing. So your family's story with SIA spans 3 generations, which is absolutely remarkable. What does this school mean to you personally? Do we want to start with you again, Susan? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, good.
Personally, it just meant a whole lot for us all to be in the same school. That I found it to be very refreshing. I don't know if the children would have answered they were happy for me to be in the same place.
We'll find out about that later.
That was a wonderful part, and just I loved being in the library. And it set our whole family, I think, on a path that we followed a little more of Jewish traditions. We became a little more observant. We participated in more things. So it really set our family on a path of Jewish learning.
That's wonderful. How about you, Elise?
Yeah. My immediate family was a transplant family from up north. So when we moved down to Virginia Beach when I was just around 4, we did not, as far as I know about Hebrew Academy for whatever reason. So it was several years before. That's why I started in 3rd grade while I attended some public school and whatnot. And as soon as we walked through the doors on Tompkins Lane, it truly felt like home. So I have a picture in my office of my sister and I coming to the old Hebrew Academy back then, and we really never looked back. It was everything I think that we were missing in regular, public school for us at that point, and it offered a much more well-rounded program, a challenging program, as well as a loving, nurturing environment.
So for me, it was really, really important because my mother wasn't Jewish. So growing up in a household that we practiced Judaism, but my mother didn't know anything really much about Judaism. And my father was Jewish, and they decided to raise my sister and I Jewish. So we came to Hebrew Academy, and that was really the foundation for us learning the Jewish part of our lives. And so it was tremendously important for our foundation for that. But the other thing that's really important about the school, in my opinion, is that is where I met my wife, because she was in the 3rd grade and I was in the 4th grade. growing up, and we knew each other all through those years, but we didn't date. We weren't really friends. We knew each other, but it was actually 10 years after we stopped seeing each other. We were at Norfolk Academy together, and she went off to become a ballet dancer, and I didn't see her for 10 years. Back in 1997, I was doing something at the old Hebrew Academy on Tompkins Lane, and I ran into my old librarian, Susan Tapper.
I wasn't old then.
No, you were my old librarian. You were not old, though. And I asked about Elise, and I ended up getting her number, and I called her, and we ended up going on a date, and the rest is history.
That's so sweet. I love that. I love hearing that.
Well, growing up, I think I didn't know anything much about our history here. I just thought I was going to school, normal school, and obviously it's normal, but it was definitely smaller. Like, I had 13 people in my class when I graduated, and I look back and I'm so grateful for that. I loved the tight-knit group we had and all the things we were learning. Like, I can think about so many memories right now sitting here, like detailed memories that, I don't know, I just think that this whole school really gave me the education and, like, made me who I am. And, yeah, I will never forget all the memories I have in my head.
That's wonderful. And do you keep in touch with most of your classmates out of curiosity?
I actually just saw Jacob Waters downstairs
I know.
the other day.
I know. It's so funny.
Yeah, I see him a few times. Over the years, for sure, I've seen, like, Sam, I'll sometimes will reach out to each other, or, like, Layla or Jonah, or I'd say for the most part, yes. And at the reunion a few years ago, I saw a bunch of people, so that was great. But definitely keep in contact. It's not like they're ghosts.
So I could say the same. I think David and I both have friends that we had in class here many decades ago that we're still in touch with, and my very best friend when I went here and only really knew her for those few years, we're still in touch to this day, and I mean true love for her when I think of her, and I think same with David.
Love that. That's wonderful. Okay, Susan, we're going to put you on the hot seat. We're going to start with you. When did you begin teaching at what was Hebrew Academy, but we'll say SIA, and what was the school like in those early years?
Well, I had to look it up. It was so long ago. I began in 1981, and that was when we enrolled Elise and Kim in Hebrew Academy. And Kim was just 4, so I felt like I could do a little more than be sitting at home with them all day long. And I had gone into the library and talked with Ada Michaels, who was then librarian, to see if she needed any help in doing whatever around the library. I always wanted to be involved in a library. So I volunteered in the library that whole school year, and then the next year became like a part-time assistant, and then went on from there until Ada moved up to her position as head of school.
Right.
And I became, full-time librarian then. It was a very warm, welcoming place.
Yeah.
And I always felt the library was a place for the children to come in and sort of get out of their normal routine without the pressure.
Right.
And it was a great place to be.
The
Absolutely.
library was the heart of the school. It was right in the middle of the
It
school.
was. So what do you remember most vividly about your time in the library?
I loved being there and teaching the kids, even though they didn't think it was teaching.
Right.
Introducing new literature and authors, and I loved the programming that we had for authors in conjunction with Joni London and her family's grant, essentially, to the school to bring in new authors every year. So all the programming sort of went through Joni, myself, Ada, and it was wonderful having all the literature to be with the kids. Newbery Awards, Caldecott Awards, each grade had something different going on. It was just a fun place to be.
Susan, do you remember junior grade books?
Yes, I certainly do.
I was going to ask the same thing.
So we were in junior grade books. I remember very vividly being in the library doing junior grade books, which is a series of books, short stories, and we would read the stories and then talk about them. I think you also had some assistants, didn't you, helping out with that?
Rona Gottlieb.
Rona Gottlieb was in the class as well. I remember that.
Yeah. It was
Those are
a
good
nice
memories.
program.
I remember you always at the big card catalog all the time, moving them around and whatever you
Right.
were doing with them. But I remember that.
Until about a year after we moved to this campus, I put the card catalog on computer.
Yep.
Pretty much solely me, and it was a lot of work, but it was great, and literally got rid of the card catalog.
I know.
Literally, which was heartbreaking to many. Reichel Margolin had a problem with that. She actually took one of the cabinets to her home so
Aw.
she could keep it.
I love it.
And it was a step toward coming into the new age
Yeah.
of technology, and it worked pretty much great with the help of Greg Avant, who assisted with all technical issues.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So we digitized.
We digitized, well worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely is. So how did the school's mission and values shape your teaching and perhaps influence your own children as students, do you think?
I think the whole mission of the school, along with the Jewish learning and academic excellence, the fact that the school keeps on doing more learning and trying new ideas. We always had something new going on, some new educational principle that would
Yeah.
come out, and we all sort of went gung-ho and got involved in that, and then the next new thing would come out, and now we have the International Baccalaureate
Right.
program, and so you keep on learning and learning, and I think that's helped everyone in the community. The larger community, I think, looks up to Strelitz as being it's a pillar in the community.
And we are all about lifelong learning. It's
Yes.
like that's part of the IB program, but that was part of our mission statement before we were an IB school. Lifelong learners, the adults, the kids, everybody. So I love that about our
Right.
school. All right, let's switch gears and let's focus on David and Elise for a minute. What was it like, Elise, growing up here as a student while your mom was the librarian? How was that for you?
It was great. When you were just talking a minute ago about what you remembered about the library, the first thing I thought of was coming in the late summer to make your bulletin board, which I had not thought about till that very second. It was really wonderful. I got to explore the between the books, basically, when everyone else was going home, I would stay a little extra, so a little fun time in the library. I remember the one strange thing is I could never figure out, what am I supposed to call you? It
Oh,
was like, do you say Mom? Do you say Mrs. Tapper? It was a very big dilemma in my brain, so I didn't call you anything. I would just go up and say, could you please help me with whatever? Yeah, so it was really great. And I mean, you already said this, but the idea that the library was in the center of the school, truly. So, all of your other teacher friends would come through always because the teacher's lounge was right there. And I just have memories of your lifelong learning for sure took place, but so did what ended up being your lifelong friends. So I can picture me sitting there while you would be able to socialize with all of the wonderful teachers that are some still here today.
true.
Some are my bosses.
Also true.
Also say something about Mrs. Tapper, the librarian, as well.
Yeah.
Because one time I was being naughty and I was not paying attention in class, and I was doing a maze while the teacher was teaching me. And the teacher got upset and picked up the maze and tore it in half.
You weren't doing it, you were drawing.
I was drawing in class. And my friends helped me to tape it back together, and I went into the library.
Still has it today. He
I
showed
do.
me the other day.
I brought it to the library, and Mrs. Tapper, she put it through the laminating machine.
Oh.
And so now it's completely laminated, but you can still see the tear in the middle.
My gosh. That's a great
facts.
story. I love that. Love it, love it. Do you remember any traditions, teachers, or moments that defined your experience as students, David and Elise?
Well, I would say that one of my favorite teachers at the school, besides the librarian, of course I have to say that, was Mrs. Crimer. So Joan Crimer, I think she taught the 6th grade to us, sixth grade.
Yes.
And she was such a fantastic teacher. I had a real problem because I was always trying to make everybody laugh. And that got
Class
me in a
clown.
lot of
That is not a surprise to me whatsoever. I don't.
Shocker.
Yeah.
it got me in a lot of trouble because I just could not control myself, and the teachers couldn't control me. But Mrs. Crimer always had my respect, and I always acted appropriately with her. And she would just do things with us that she would teach us things like how to write a thank you note. So you learn about things that you need to learn as people, not just as students.
Yeah.
And I just remember her being just a fantastic teacher, and just matter of fact, just this is how it is. But you would say strict because she demanded your attention, and we gave it to her. She was amazing. But I also remember Miss Ada Michaels. So Susan was just mentioning her, the librarian. She was a librarian before Susan, and I remember her reading to us in the school, in the library. I would sit on the floor and she had the best way of talking and reading a book. She'd hold it up and she'd have a certain voice. I can hear it right now. Her cadence, the way that she spoke, she was really, really amazing.
That
One of my
is-
best memories.
Joan Crimer also came to my mind, and I remember she taught math mostly, and to this day I can hear her voice very distinctly saying, whenever a kid would say, well, I almost got it right in math, she would say, almost only counts in horseshoes, every single time. You remember that?
I do.
You know, and you brought up Joan London earlier. I actually have a very, very strong, vivid memory of a time that she came to the school, like a special program where she taught something called SQ3R, which is a 5-step reading and studying technique that stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. And it was an amazing program, I would say probably well ahead of its time. And to this day, I try to give our kids the idea of what it was because it was such a great tool so that we weren't just simply memorizing something, but our reading comprehension went
Right.
up. And of course, it was a fun thing that she did. We just, went and explored it as a, little workshop or whatever it was. That's one of my takeaways of school is that there were so many things that, you mentioned this, Mom, Susan, that this is Tapper.
Now you're right back to being that kid who
All the
doesn't know what to
things.
call her.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That there's so much teaching always going on here that isn't beating it over your head that it is an education. So that was an example of something that seemed kind of fun. We went to
Right.
a different room and we learned this way of studying. And to this day, I actually, Sylvie, you probably remember me saying, read it and say it out loud and write it down and all those things. It's really literally from that experience.
I remember learning the SQ3R as well, and I remember it was in the art room for some
Yeah.
reason, in the new part of the building that had just been added to the old campus at Tompkins Lane. They had an art room right when you walked into that wing, and I remember learning that method in there.
Yep. But yeah, as far as traditions, oh my gosh, I mean, going back to coming into the school a little bit later and learning all of the, Judaic traditions that were infused, some of it Jewish values that I believe are human values that were just infused, and it was an immersion program into that, but also the literal, Shabbat candles, whatever, such a beautiful part of our culture and religion, and some of that my family didn't fully know and do at home until we went to school there. And so, we maybe, like you said, kind of kicked off our own lifelong Jewish learning.
Love it. So when it came time for you guys to pick a school for your 4 children, what made you decide to come back to SIA or Hebrew Academy, whichever one?
I don't even think it was a question. I just think we just knew that we were going to send them here. We knew how important it was in our lives. We knew how important it was to us as people now to have that education. So much more so than our friends that didn't have that education. They just were such at a disadvantage of not knowing the traditions of, and also just having that feeling of being in a family. You don't know it until you leave the school that you are in a family. You just think you're at school, and then all of a sudden you're somewhere else, and you're like, well, what is going on here? Where are all my friends? Where are essentially my teachers? Everybody loves me, and you just lose that when you go to a larger school where there's there's just so much else going on.
Where everybody knows your name, right?
Exactly.
exactly.
Literally, everybody knows your name. So yeah, so it was a no-brainer for us, and we started Bella off obviously in the preschool, and
Yeah, at first it was with Bella. Our first, we didn't really know when to start her, and there was the I think it was called Great Beginnings or New Beginnings program back then, and maybe we started in like a music and mommy program or something that may not have been exactly under the umbrella at the time, but it was, as we had more kids, it was like, how soon can they go there?
I remember getting a 9-year award up. That's why I said 9
Yeah, oh, that's right.
at my graduation.
Yes, the 9-year award. Everybody loved those. Now we would have to make it like, I don't know what. So, I don't, yeah. 12-year award, maybe? Maybe that's what it would be.
if they come in as a baby.
Right, that's what I mean.
We are babies.
And we do have those that start as an infant and go all the way through. Okay, so how have you seen the school evolve from your time as students to now as parents and as a board member?
Well, it obviously has changed a lot. Just the location, I mean, being on Tompkins Lane was just a whole nother world. And I would say that when we went to the school, the religious part of the school was much more Orthodox based. The heads of the school were, everybody was very, very religious, and I think that that's changed, and that's probably a good thing, because we do have kids, and we're inclusive, and we have kids that are not necessarily Jewish, or kids that are less religious than most, or the Orthodox. So I felt like that change has been a really, really good thing. And I also love that we've become an IB school. I mean, that I felt like we had that when we had Alyssa as a teacher, and our kids all went through Alyssa. I felt like she was an IB teacher even before the school was
She
IB.
was. She absolutely was.
She absolutely was child-centric in everything that she did, and I'm so thrilled that she has become the head of the lower school, of the little kids. What is beginnings, I guess?
Early years.
Early years,
Yeah.
right. But I would say that it's been a tremendous change in having that, and I think that's super, super important that people know that that's what the school is kind of come to, is that you are really focusing on the children and what they need to learn,
Yeah,
and making it really centered on them.
absolutely.
I think that the people like Alyssa and others for sure had, when they had our kids in the early years, we were pretty new parents at that point, of course, and certainly new to everything we were doing by sending them to school for a few hours a day, and the feedback and knowledge that the teachers here gave us as parents, I think helped form us as truly the parents that we ended up becoming, because they saw our kids and didn't shame them for being different or what they were. Sylvie, actually, we always talk about the story that Alyssa always says, that you were at the finger painting, or not finger painting, at the painting station with brushes, and you chose not to use a brush, and she said to us specifically, if someone was walking by, they would probably wonder why we were letting that child use her fingers, but they watched you so closely that they knew that was something you needed to explore, and being a parent and hearing that was like, oh, and the light bulb went off, like, we also should be able to do that for you. So it was, I don't know if that even answers your question, but I will say that that same essence that I'd mentioned earlier about walking in the building, it doesn't matter where the building is. It's not the building, in other words, it's the people and it's the community. I don't even think you need to probably give somebody a tour when they walk in here. There's just a feeling, and anyone who ends up being a parent and a family here, I think you probably know what that is. It's just, there's something you almost can't put your finger on.
Yeah, we actually get that a lot from parents after they tour. They're just
There's
like,
just something.
this is the best feeling I've ever had. Of all the schools I've toured, I get the best feeling when I come.
I've heard that even if people
Yeah.
didn't send their kids here, I've heard, even if they chose something else, sometimes for whatever reason, they always say that. So
Yeah.
there's something.
There definitely is something in the sauce, for sure. All right, Sylvie, we're going to put you on the hot seat now. So you literally grew up at SIA, and now you are back as a teacher. What inspired you to follow that path?
I think growing up, I was surrounded around teachers who, made me feel confident and made me feel safe and made me feel like I could be different, like my mom was saying. And I think I've always wanted to be a teacher. My mom always jokes that as a kid I was teaching the same kids my age. Like as a baby I was holding babies. Like I've always wanted to be some sort of role with children, and I think what better way to come back to my roots and where I became who I am. And honestly, what inspired me was just seeing how happy the school has made me and my whole family, all my siblings, my parents, everyone, both my grandmas. So yeah, I think that hopefully answers the question.
It definitely does. How does it feel to be part of the next generation of educators? So your grandmother is an educator, your parents in different ways have been educators, and now you're kind of in that role. How does that feel?
It feels really special, just, knowing the knowledge of how my parents, like, poured everything into the school, and, like, my
And still do.
Yeah, of course. 100%. And now I get to be a part of the story, and there's something meaningful about walking in the same halls that I've walked my whole life, and, having other kids be where I was. And, I'm across the room from Jackie, who was my teacher when I was 4, and she'll give me some new information about who I was when I was 4, and I love it so much because, you can watch all the videos of that my dad, because he recorded our whole life on his camera.
I'm sure he did.
Love it. Little vlogs. But you can watch all the videos and do all the things, but the teachers know the best, and the fact that they remember not only us, but remember specific details because they knew, this isn't just any other kid. Like, this kid has something to them, and, it's so fun to work with. Or even have my boss, Alyssa, taught me as well, and B taught me as well, and Carnaz is
And now you work with all of them.
It's insane, and it's weird, but I love it. It's a good weird. It's so weird for them. Every time they see me, they go, like, you were 4 yesterday, and I was like, still 4. Yeah. But yeah, very special.
So are there any lessons or values passed down from your parents, from your grandmother, that you carry into the classroom with you right now?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is relationships come first for sure. Children, they thrive when they feel loved and feel special, and my parents definitely gave me that, and the teachers who taught me here definitely gave me that. And I also carry the belief of learning should be hands-on and engaging, and that's what I've learned here. Coming in here, I mean, who I work with now, Nicole, is the most amazing. She has taught me so much with the class and everything, but I assumed, I was like, oh, do they do tests and stuff? And she's like, they're 4. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Or, like, it's all play-based, which is amazing, and I don't remember specific. Everything's just so different than what I remember. Obviously, it was 4, so I don't remember. But it's so cool to be on the other side of things and be like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I see myself in so many of these kids. I'm like, there's one kid in my class, she's my mini-me. I'm like, this is literally me. And Alyssa, they're always like, yep, that's how you word. This is how you act. Or even with Avi, Alyssa and B, they used to joke about, like, when they would see a kid, they'd be like, oh, there's an Avi Cardin. Like, there's an Avi, like, because they know how he behaves or whatever. Or sing-along. I would get up and sing my heart out for Shabbat sing-alongs, and my brother would be sleeping the whole time in Jackie's lap. So just little things like that. But, yeah, I think just being kind and caring, and the kids need to be seen, and they need to feel loved and special, each of them in their own way. And so it's just about figuring out how they need it and what I can do to, make them feel that way.
I have to tell you that I personally have witnessed you doing that repeatedly. So, and that is what they need. They need to know that they're loved and they're in a safe
100%.
space to be who they're going to be, to develop
100%.
into the person they are going to be. So I see you doing that for them. So I think you're a little bit of a natural in that way. Okay, so let's go into some shared thoughts. And we can go around, or anybody who wants to tackle it. What moments or traditions have stayed the same, in your opinion, over the decades?
Shabbat sing-along.
I knew you were going to say that. Everybody loves
sing-along,
Shabbat sing-along.
For sure, 100%. Yeah, just everything the same. I feel like some of the songs are the same, if not all.
Well, they should be.
Yeah, everything, just love it.
I would add to that, along with other special programs just for whatever holiday, but Grandparents' Day,
True.
Family of the Week. I don't know if they're still
We still
doing
do
it.
that, yes.
That was such a wonderful program, and I think all of those things that involve everyone got them into the classrooms. Like I remember, going in for Family of the Week and doing my library thing or whatever, and that was such a special time. And the fact that it's still going on clearly everyone else has felt that too.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if you still do this, but do you start every morning with a intro from the kids or the Hot Tikva and
We do.
Morning prayers?
Well, the pledge
the pledge,
and
Hot Tikva.
and Hot Tikva. Yep.
I have such special, vivid memories of dropping you guys off, and I did not intentionally come to be able to stand in the lobby when that happened, but if I ever did, or down the hall, and everyone would stop so that we could do that, and especially when it came time for Hatikva, I probably cried. I cried so much. I'm crying now. So special to be in community with that prayer, which of course means hope. Even back then, it just was so special, and I love that tradition is still going on now to this day. So I love that. You have anything?
I loved doing the plays during, Hanukkah time and all that. Well, we would do little performances
Drama
or whatever.
class.
We get on the stage and on Tompkins Lane and do all the shows. And I know that we've continued that in this building as well. So I think it's great that the kids get to be in front of people and singing the songs and practicing and having their grandparents and parents and relatives all see them. It's amazing.
Yeah, Drama Club is a hot ticket around here. Let me tell you what. Everybody wants to be in Drama Club. And they do such an amazing job. If you have not come to see one of those performances, you need to do it because it's out of this world. I'm blown away by it every year. So what do you think makes SIA so special that keeps your family coming back?
I think we've all said all the words the
Community.
whole time. The warmth that you feel when you come in, the nurturing atmosphere. It's very welcoming. I mean, how many words can you say that?
Yeah.
And when we first started, that was exactly as Elise said before, what drew us. It was like you walked in and you breathed. And it was like a breath of fresh air coming from where we had been. And it continues that way. I believe you're seen in the community that way. It's a wonderful way to be with the nurturing atmosphere.
Yes, I think that as I think we kind of already said this, but the development of the child to become who they are, but also to understand where they fit into a larger, broader community in the walls of the school, in our broader community locally, in our global community. It's all of it is built in, and again, not like kind of Sylvia just said, you don't always remember every little. Of course you don't, but these are the foundation and the roots you're establishing so deeply, and I don't know, I can't even imagine being anywhere else.
And I would say that the fact that so many people who've gone through this school who are Jewish have used their education here as the foundation a lot for their continuing to be Jewish. I think it's really, really cool and really special that we don't have to, at this school, put all of our education in a Sunday school situation or after school. And a lot of kids that don't go to a Hebrew school, they have to do those things, and it ends up being really overwhelming. But the other thing that I would say that I really think is special is the class size. The fact that kids get to really have that bond with each other because it's a small group, and also the teachers get to know them very, very well. You get that attention. You just don't get that when you're in a class of 20 or 25
Right.
kids. You just
Yeah.
can't. So I think that's a really, really special thing that we have as well.
What do you hope that SIA will continue to offer to future generations? What's something you hope we continue to do?
I think that one of the things that SIA does the best is that we don't teach our students to be followers. We teach them to think on their own.
I love that.
If they want to be a follower, they can, but it's their choice. I think that if we can continue and to teach the past, to learn from the past, but not necessarily to train our children for a future that we can't see and we don't know. So I think that SIA has always done that without even probably realizing how forward-minded thinking that even is. So if we can continue that, and I don't know why you wouldn't, because it's clearly working.
Right. Agreed.
If you could describe SIA in one word, what would it be?
How can we, in one word? Welcoming is the first one
Okay.
that comes to me.
I would say family, because I feel like it's a family. When you're here, you feel like these are your brothers, your sisters, your parents. It's not strangers. It's family.
Love it.
My word is holistic.
Mm.
I think that above and beyond all the regular subjects, you teach our children that they can be anything they want to be in life. So they're grounded. And I think you teach them how important it is to be part of a community, as I mentioned, and to connect to something even greater. I didn't really mention that, but there's not just our community on the ground here. There's, someone, whatever we believe, God, Hashem, the universe above. So there's a connection to each of it. So it's kind of the ultimate definition of holistic in my mind, especially coming from my background, this sort of mind, body, spirit connection all in one without even trying.
That's beautiful. Love that.
Thank you.
Piggybacking on everyone has said, how tight-knit this community is, and like I said earlier, I had 13 people graduating in my class, and we all felt equal, and I think that's something very important that not a lot of kids and schools offer, the feeling of equality. I felt me and all the 12 people that I grew up with, basically, no one felt better than the other, or no one felt more powerful, or all the things. And I think transitioning over to after 5th grade, going to a different school, I was like, wait, not everyone's nice. I was not prepared for it, which is a good thing, I guess. At the end of the day, it's good that I wasn't prepared for some negativity of other people. But I was like, wait, not everyone already has their friends, like what's going on? Because I just had my group of friends, because my whole group, my friend group was my class. That's what I love about it. Yeah, I'll never forget them. They're all so special to me and have a place in my heart.
They're your family.
They are my family.
Friends and family.
Yep.
So what does it feel like to know that your family's story is now part of the school's living history? How does that make you feel?
Like the coolest teacher on the block.
I love that.
But my favorite part is when I'm walking down the hallway or whatever, like literally yesterday, and Dad was like, what's your name? As he was leaving, he just dropped off his kid. He was like, what's your name? Because I was very playful. It was from a different class. Anyway, he asked me what my name was, and I said my name, and then I think Linda was right behind walking, or maybe Cheryl. I totally forget, but they were like, yep, she graduated, like, she used to go here, everyone always throws it around, like, I taught her, like, they always talk about how they taught me or how I used to go here, and then everyone's like, what? Like, that's crazy, and it feels great to be like, yep, I did, and I'm back, so you can cut that part out.
I think our family's story has always been a part of the history of the school. We've been around that long, and very proud of everyone in the family and all they've done, and the school for all of the caring, the support from teachers and faculty, all the staff, and how it's been a blessing to have this as part of our community. And now our story will be there too.
Love that.
100%.
Thank you. All right. Well, I thank you all for joining us today and sharing your memories, your stories. It's inspiring and heartwarming. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being
Thank
the best
you.
head of school we've ever seen.
Ditto.
Thank you. Thank you.
As we celebrate 70 years of learning, it's stories like this that remind us what makes SIA so special. One family, 3 generations, all connected by the same sense of purpose, community, and love of learning that began decades ago. From classrooms filled with chalk dust to bright preschool spaces filled with laughter, this family's journey shows how the heart of our school endures, passed from teacher to student, parent to child, generation to generation. To the Carden Tapper family, thank you for sharing your memories, your perspective, your deep connection to this place. And to all of our listeners, whether you're a new parent, an alum, or a longtime friend of the school, thank you for being part of this incredible 70-year story. Join us next time as we continue to honor our past, celebrate our present, and imagine the future of education together. I'm Heather Moore.